I'll have to get you back out on Cold Drill Friday.
Yep, everybody wants that.
Yeah, no, quite a few requests for it. A lot of people pissed off. You stop doing that.
Well,
it's all your fault. Anybody that gets upset about it, I just say,
yeah, Trey.
I had no part in that. He just said, we're going to cut it off at 50.
It would be cool to bring it back and like go through and find my times for the old drills and do it all again in order.
Yeah.
And see how much better I've gotten. I feel like I could like do a lot better on all of
I think so too. Yeah. I think revisiting it would be appropriate.
It's a lot of work that I got to dig this in the archive and splice them in, and it sounds like something that would suck a lot. No?
Easy day.
Okay. I'll let you do it then.
You're Joel Trey. You know how to do that stuff.
I know how to do it.
It's easy stuff.
It doesn't make it fun.
You're going to laugh on that.
So I want to talk about the rut, and I guess define our words. So to me, the rut means like the person that you watch, a friend, a family member that says they're gonna do something and they can never do it. Like they have these big dreams, goals, or just like a hobby they want to get into, and they're like they keep talking about it for weeks, months, years, forever, and they never break the cycle of their whatever it is, a 9 to 5, or maybe they're just lazy. I mean, there's all kind of things that can happen, but when you're just stuck in a rut and you can't get out of it, you can't make changes in your life, you can't better yourself. Something that I've been in, and I seem like I go on almost every other month cycle of like getting into a rut, having to dig back out of it, getting into it, dig back out of it. And I said lazy as something that maybe that's why I'm doing something, but I think feeling defeated like you're in the rut causes laziness. It's like procrastination builds procrastination, and all of a sudden you don't want to face all this procrastination that you've done. So I thought it'd be cool to talk about that and maybe our experiences with it and good ways to maybe start digging out of it. Does that sound like what the rut is to you?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. You're talking about just, going through like mundane experiences of life, whether it be work or school or just everyday life. It seems like you wake up and it's the same process every single day. You go home, you eat, take a shower, go to sleep, wake up, do it all over again. And after a period of time of just hit and repeat and doing the same thing over and over, it starts to drag you down, and you start to feel like you're not actually making any progress. I'd say there's a couple of different phases of what you're calling the rut, right? And like the pre-rut, if you will. God, this is making me like really, really want to go hunting.
I've just been rolling through my head. We just had a conversation about hunting too.
Yeah, but like the pre-rut, if you will, like before you start falling into that area of depression and just kind of like feeling down about not making any progress and stuff. Before you really start to hit that, you start to kind of like drag. And for me, at least, I start to grasp for other opportunities to keep myself from falling into that rut. And then most of the time it's inevitable. You end up stuck and plateauing somewhere. And it could be in anything. It could be in your progress at work, your family life. It could be at the gym. It could be, in your training. It could be in a lot of different things. And when you hit that plateau, that's the hardest part. Because climbing out of that and actually progressing forward, that's the hard part. I say my most clear experience with that would be getting out of the Marine Corps. After getting out of the Marine Corps, it was a constant uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill, uphill, downhill. Like, hey, I'm going to college. Hey, college sucks. I'm actually doing real in college. This class sucks though. And now what am I going to do with this degree? And then it's wandering around aimlessly and trying to figure out what you're going to do with yourself. And that's a really, really difficult rut to get out of. The post rut, getting out of it, actually getting out of it, it's a struggle to maintain that balance and not fall immediately right back into it. Like you actually have to make some significant progress in order for, I guess, for you to psychologically feel like you're out of the rut.
It's
Makes sense.
momentum.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
once it's built, it's easy to maintain. But in the early stages of building it,
Right.
it can fall off super quickly. All it takes is one bad day, one bad decision to ruin your momentum. Yeah, you see, part of the exciting part, honestly, about getting in, if you're in the rut, it's not all bad. It's you said whenever like you're pre-rut, like you see it happening, and you said you're reaching for opportunities, right? That's a really good way to either stop it from happening or get yourself out of it. Like a lot of times for me, all it takes for me to get out of a rut is like I need to go like just do something. Like if I can't think of anything I need to do for myself, go weed eat Apache, or I've been buying a mountain bike. Go mountain bike, do something out of the norm. Something just I have to do this. Let's go do it. And then after it, I'm like, oh, I accomplished something. That felt good. What else can I do?
Yeah.
And then that day becomes like just that day alone is more productive. I end up doing coming home and washing the dishes that have been sitting in the sink or sweeping the floor. I mean, I come home and I start adding progress. And if you can tie that along for a couple of days, then you probably can push a couple of weeks and then maybe months. And I've not yet been able to go a year without kind of dipping off yet. But it's almost kind of fun in a weird way when I identify that I'm in a rut. I've done it so many times now. Like I can feel it when I'm there. It's like, okay, well, it's time to do something kind of fun. My best way that I go hike.
Yeah.
Usually is what I do, and that sparks me to do more. And so it's cool once you do it a couple times. You know how to unlock the key to getting out of the rut for yourself. And a lot of times it's really not that bad of a thing.
Right.
I start off like, oh, I have to just like mop the floors or something off. We can start off something fun, and that'll help spur on some inspiration.
So your fix to it is just find something to break the cycle. Right? Don't stop with the mundane stuff and doing the same thing every single day, or not doing anything at all, and then eventually falling into a depression or something like that. And just go do something out of the ordinary. Go, go mountain biking. Go do something. I'd say the more difficult ones, the more difficult ruts to get out of are like financial ruts. Whenever you are, bills have to be paid, income isn't what you want it to be, savings isn't what you want it to be. You feel like you're just constantly consumed with, all these financial hardships. That's a real struggle. That's one that's really, really hard to get out of. I've heard the saying, money can't buy happiness. It sure helps, right?
Yeah.
It does something to you psychologically when you are financially stable. You are much happier. You are much better at maintaining relationships, and your ruts are less and less, right? Because I can't afford to go, screw it. Instead of doing this or that, I'm just going to go mountain biking. Like, you can afford to go and do that. That's a great thing. If you don't have any other choice but to just go back to work to your 9 to 5, that's a little bit different. Now you're going to make time for going to go mountain biking either at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning or at 7 or 8 at night.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I'm coming at it from no wife, no kids, nobody support but me. I mean, I'll sleep in my truck, whatever. Yeah. And so I guess it's a little bit of a youthful approach to look at it. Is easier, I guess, for me to break out of it than a lot of people, and that's something I hadn't quite considered going into this. But I can relate to the financial part of it, because I'm like you into my business and it still sucks. Yeah. I haven't got paid once this month. Like this month, it sucks. Like there's months where you get a bunch, and this month was just nothing. Yeah. And it's heavy, man. Like you said, money you can't buy happiness, but it helps. But when I have a good payday come in, like a huge weight just falls off, and you can breathe. Yeah. But the guys stuck in this situation, they do have a wife and kids and a house to pay for, and family support, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. If you find yourself unhappy with that, you can do that and be happy. Like if you're going to continue with your job, I mean, then I'm by no means saying you need to change things. Right. But if you're not, then I think that leads to the road quote: most men lead lives of quiet desperation. If you get stuck in that rut that you don't like, even if you're doing what's right, you're gonna look back in your life and be like, I wish I'd stayed up an extra 3 hours for the year to get my whatever printing business off the ground, or my knife making business, or whatever you want to do. Like, so maybe doing the fun things to get out of the rut isn't quite as good for people that have that much responsibility, but you still can break the cycle of norm by like, okay, this is going to suck for a while, but I'm going to stay up, later, set 2 hours, after everybody goes to bed, set 3 hours, I'm going to make this blade, make this knife, or I'm going to set up this little thing, get some pictures of it, and practice my photography skills, whatever it is for you. You got to break that cycle and do a little bit of sacrifice.
I say there's a lot of soul searching, especially in the aspect of financial decision making and stuff like that. You've got to start asking yourself, am I doing the hard stuff? Am I doing the work it takes to break this cycle? Like if it's the 9 to 5 that I'm trying to get away from, okay, well, am I doing the 9 to 5 and then doing my printing business in the evening, doing the stuff that nobody sees, the behind the scenes stuff, staying up until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, making sure something gets done, so that you can set yourself up for success moving forward. Doing those things that nobody else sees, the behind the scenes stuff, that's what's going to get you out of the rut. When you really start to break the cycle, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to do that and still without making sacrifices. Right. You'll have to make some type of sacrifice, be it sleep, be it friendships, or other relationships, that big house that you want, that nice fancy car that you want. You've got to give some of that stuff up temporarily if you want something better later on.
Right.
The other place, and just kind of get off the financial side of things, the other place we commonly see ruts and these plateaus are in training. When a student comes out and they've been frequently training once a week or once every other week, and they come out and you see progress, and then you hit this one evaluation process or drill or whatever that you have to go through, and it just seems like this mountain you can't conquer. And you strive for it, you go home, you do the hard work, do some dry fire, come back, try to test again, still fail it, go back, do the work, and eventually when you start seeing failure over and over and over again, it can start to play a pretty big role in your progress. Like it can hold you back. So I think breaking out of that cycle, and instead of just going after that one mountain every single time, change your view a little bit. Look over there. There's another mountain over there we know you can conquer. Let's go over there and see if we can't conquer that one first, and then we'll revisit this later. A lot of times, that's what will help snap some of these guys out of it.
So how much of it do you think is lack of effort?
I think a large part of it is.
Right.
Yeah, honestly, about 75 to 80% of it.
That's when I see students start to plateau, it's because they're not going home and dry firing. They're not taking what they've learned that day and going home and practicing it live, dry, whatever. They're just not. They're coming out to have a little bit of fun on whatever time their session is, and that's like, oh, I trained this week.
Yeah.
Check.
Data dump.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's not, as we both know, that's not what this is for. We'll give you data. You go home and you practice it, come back and retest, and if you're ready for more data, we'll give you more data. But it seems like lack of effort is honestly what causes a lot of the whole sphere of the rut. It's like if you want out of your 9 to 5, want to make money, then you have to make some sacrifices and put effort into moving in a direction that will get you out of what you want to be in. If you're plateaued training, then you need to put more effort into dry fire or live fire, just practicing, or come with the intent to learn at least, not just to hang out. And relationally, I'm not super good at that. I've said no wife, no kids,
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of relationship experience. But that takes effort too.
Yeah.
Like it takes those uncomfortable conversations sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that's my point.
Yeah, good talk. So, in summary, if you find yourself stuck in a rut, go do the hard work, right? Put in the effort and climb out of it. You can do it. It's possible. A lot of people have fallen great depths and were still able to pull themselves out of it. And you know, makes them, nothing makes them really special. The only thing that makes them special is they're willing to do the work.
And it's not all doom and gloom. Like,
Yeah.
if you have the time, money, availability, go kayaking, go hiking, go axe throwing, do something, break your rhythm, do something that excites you, and let that be a little bit of a catalyst too.
Yeah, absolutely. Having a good support system built up helps a lot. You know, listen to folks. Listen to some outside perspectives of from people that you trust and people that that you respect, even if it's the stuff you don't want to hear. I mean, just last week, I was about to make a poor choice. I was about to make a poor choice and spend some money where it just really wasn't practical. But I was basing my decision off of emotion, and a lot of times that can really screw you up. And I needed my wife to reel me in and let me know, look, this isn't practical. I support you if this is what you want to go do, but this isn't where you need to be spending the money.
Right.
We can afford it. We can afford it. We can go ahead and do this, but it's really not logical. And sometimes it takes swallowing that pill and saying, you know what, you're right, and recognizing that to actually move forward.
That's a good point. Sometimes when in the painting a picture of a rut, sometimes you're in a rut so bad you can't even think about what you want to do.
Yeah.
The fog can get that thick.
Yeah.
So having to, right, go to your friends, go to your parents, go to your family, whatever. Like, hey, I'm stuck in the rut. Just tell them. Like, if you're that honest people, most people are super supportive and will be willing to give you shoulder back to help you out. Like, give me some ideas. What can I do? Because I've been in the fog so bad where I took somebody calling me, hey, let's go do this. It's like, okay, I probably should say yes to this.
In order for this to work, though, it takes application. You can listen all you want. I can sit here and listen to somebody ramble about, hey man, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, and it may be all like a ton of great advice, but unless I actually apply what I'm learning from that person, I'm not going to get any benefit from it.
Right.
It's like so many people go to school and they never go utilize their degree because they don't apply what they learn to a craft or some job or some employment or whatever. They don't apply what they learned, and eventually they just lose it.
Right.
So
that goes back to the effort, right?
Right. It goes back to the effort, man. You gotta be willing to make sacrifices, apply what is learned, and take the extra effort to dig yourself out of the rut that you're in. Covered quite a bit of ground.
Yeah, and we still got like 10 minutes left, so won't be an hour long one this time.
That's good.
Well, I think that about wraps it up, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below what you'd like us to talk about next time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to seeing you out here.
Bye. Got the last word.